invited to so many parties, receptions. It is just, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it's also one that has to be properly managed.
I completely agree with that. We all get invited to way too many events. And so I will always say this, the holidays are not necessarily a time to network, but it is an efficient way to see a bunch of people and set up network opportunities after.
Agreed. I want to start with RSVPing to one of these events.
Before you talk about RSVPing, how do you decide, because like you said, we are all invited to so many events. How do you decide like which ones you're actually going to attend?
So great question. The first thing is I am definitely going to the clients who have sent me the most business, or my largest clients. If they're having any kind of holiday party or event, they're going to be at the top of the list. Same thing for people who have sent me business. They're going to be at the top of the list. And then I also make as much of a priority what I would call potential opportunities. Firms or individuals who I feel like for whatever reason we really didn't get the good referral connectivity that I wanted, and I'm going to make a point to go to those things as well.
So I do that, and then I have a third category, and I go to the ones that are fun and interesting.
So basically free cap crates and martinis.
I like the holidays, and I like the holiday tour, and so I try to use that also when I'm thinking about planning my events, like that people are being invited to multiple events, and so I want my event to have something that is fun and interesting and is different than what everybody else is doing.
I also have used the holidays as an opportunity to see what organizations or networking groups I'm not going to participate in next year. So the very first year that I lived in Tampa, I went to 2 different organizations' holiday parties. They were back-to-back nights, and I realized that all the same people were at both parties.
And so you're like, fail. So I don't need to go to both of those.
So I literally got out of one of those organizations the next year because I'm like, I'm going to catch all of these people in this other organization. So I don't need to be in both of these organizations. That's not the highest and best use of my time.
So like one of the things I always try to do is set some objectives for myself, because I do think that when you get to the holiday party, you can get unfocused. Like you like be sidetracked by the crab cakes and martinis, and you forget that you're supposed to be there trying to make a time to reconnect. So I usually say to myself, like, we want to walk out the door with the ability to set up 3, marketing lunches after the new year.
I do the same thing. And I think one of the things that helps with that game plan is if it is going to be, say, at a company or a law firm or CPA firm or what have you, or a bank, is sometimes you'd be surprised. You can ask the organizer to give you a list of the confirmed attendees, and you can go through it and see, okay, wait, my big prospect is going to be there, or this person who I've been trying to get business with. So you can have a more focused game plan.
Yep. Another thing I try to do is sometimes I'll invite someone to come to the event with me or meet me at the event at the same time. So I'm walking in the door.
Not your girlfriend.
Right. Not your homie. Not the other homie, an actual contact. And so I'm walking through the door already because I've decided to meet someone there. So I'll do that as well. And I know this is probably the question that most of the homies have is like, how do you make the small talk? I try to have some pocket questions that I'm always ready to ask people, sort of that I know I feel like sometimes a robot because I end up repeating it, but like, what's new? What are you working on these days? What's
keeping you busy?
What's keeping you busy? Something like that. Or have you been traveling? Where was the last place you had to travel for work? Something like that gives me some client focused ways for clients to answer the questions, because when people say, what are you working on? Then they're usually going to start talking about their business, which takes you into things like that. Then I just have some softball questions. Like, what are your plans for the holidays? Are you traveling for the holidays? Is your family here? Or what's got you most concerned about the new year? What are you worried about in the next year? Things that I have sort of pocket questions ready so that I can work the room.
And you want to make sure that the pocket questions are not closed-ended questions like, are you busy at work? Because the answer to that is yes or no. When you say, what are you working on? It's like, oh, I've got this case that's such and such and such and such. And what people are basically also telling you at the same time is what's a good referral for them, because you're listening to what kind of deals that they're working on, what kind of projects are they working on. So that helps you figure out how to get them engaged. Some good business development during the business of holidays is you can introduce people to each other that may not know each other at the parties.
That's a great point.
That they can get business from each other. And then you can send an email on the back end and virtually, it's good to see you guys, that type of thing.
I was just going to say that's a great point. I hadn't really thought about that, but that's a great point to help people. Whenever you are known as a connector, as a person who knows great people, that'll also get people going.